So friends, I shall be talking about two different concepts. One is the outer sphincteric space and second is RIFIL fistulas. So there's a new pathway of fistula spread which has been recently diagnosed. It is it's the outer sphincteric space. So increasing experience with high resolution MRI and more focus being given on managing fistulas through the intersphincteric space, an additional pathway of fistula spread has been identified. So if you see here, this is the internal sphincter, this is the external sphincter, this green color is the fascia outside the external sphincter. So the conventional intersphincteric space is between the internal and the external sphincter. So the space between this fascia, the green color fascia outside the external sphincter and the external sphincter is the outer sphincteric space. You see here external outer sphincteric space between the green color fascia and the red color external sphincter. So the conventional intersphincteric fistulas would tend to spread between the internal and the external sphincter, and they would tend to go if they ascend superiorly in the supralevator space. On the other hand, the fistula in the outer sphincteric space will pierce the external sphincter and come in the outer sphincteric space. So then either it can rupture into the ischial fossa and become a transsphincteric fistula, or it can also go upwards along this path and become RIFIL fistula that we'll discuss later on. So again on MRI, this yellow color is the intersphincteric space. This is the internal sphincter. This is the external sphincter. This all ischiorectal fossa fat, and this blue color line is in the outer sphincteric space. So I will show you a few MRI scans. So how to differentiate between the outer sphincteric and intersphincteric space on MRI? If the fistula is present in the intersphincteric space, you will see a muscle layer between the fistula and the ischiorectal fossa fat. So that makes it that this is in the intersphincteric space and not in the outer sphincteric space, because a clear black muscle, external sphincter, is seen between the white color fat and the fistula. Another example, you can see this fistula is in the intersphincteric space and a thick black external sphincter is seen between the white ischiorectal fossa fat and the fistula tract. Another, you can see the fistula from 6 to 9 in the intersphincteric space, and you can see the muscle layer between the ischiorectal fossa fat and the fistula. So this makes it intersphincteric space. On the other hand, when the fistula is in the outer sphincteric space, you can see there's no muscle layer between the fat and the fistula, as you can see in this picture. But a distinct plane can be seen between the fat and the fistula. So definitely this is not a transsphincteric fistula, because this is not entering the ischiorectal fossa fat, but you can't see the muscle layer as well. So this is not in the intersphincteric space. So conventionally these fistulas were thought to be intersphincteric fistulas, but they are distinct because you cannot open this fistula inside the rectum, because you will end up damaging the external sphincter. That is very important. Another example, you have horseshoe fistula, which is almost all in the outer sphincteric space. So you cannot drain it into the rectum, and you cannot see any external sphincter outside it. And it is not entering the ischiorectal fossa, as a distinct plane can be seen between the fat and the fistula. So we have put the pictures together of different fistulas so that it can be appreciated. All these three are intersphincteric fistulas, as muscle layer can be seen between the fat and the fistula. But this is in the outer sphincteric plane, as no muscle layer can be seen. But in all these cases, you can see the fistula is distinct from the ischiorectal fossa fat and not entering the ischiorectal fossa fat. So this is not a transsphincteric fistula. So we published this in abdominal imaging this year. And now coming to RIFIL fistulas. RIFIL fistulas are at the roof of ischiorectal fossa inside the levator ani muscle in the outer sphincteric space, which we just discussed. So we just discussed that this is the outer sphincteric space. So if the fistula continues superiorly in this space, it becomes a RIFIL fistula. So as we discussed, a fistula which is the low transsphincteric fistula, it tends to come, and instead of becoming a transsphincteric fistula, it enters the RIFIL outer sphincteric space and crosses the puborectalis muscle here and continues along the levator ani muscle at the roof of osteorectal fossa. So this is the RIFIL fistula. So you can see it is not, and blue colored fascia is seen. So it is not entering the osteorectal fossa fat. So this is not a transsphincteric fistula here, and this is not a supralevator fistula here, and this is inside the levator ani muscle but not penetrating into the muscle fibers. So here is an example. You can see this muscle fiber is this fistula coming from this side and entering here. But it is very important to differentiate RIFIL fistulas from high transsphincteric fistulas. High transsphincteric fistula would come out and enter the osteorectal fossa fat, and you can see the fat between the fistula and the levator ani. But whereas in RIFIL fistula, no fat plane can be seen between the levator and the fistula. Here you can see it is in the RIFIL fistula. You can see a fat plane distinct between the fistula and the osteorectal fossa fat, but no fat is seen between the two, between the muscle, levator muscle and the fistula. Whereas in this case, this is entering the osteorectal fossa fat, and you can see the distinct, this one, a fat plane between the levator ani and the fistula. So this is an example of a bilateral RIFIL fistula and a bilateral perineal opening. So here you can appreciate it. It is going at the top of the osteorectal fossa. Another example is RIFIL fistula. You can see it is going up to the levator ani muscle at the top of the left osteorectal fossa fat and not entering the osteorectal fossa. Another example, fistula going in the high outer sphincteric space in the outer inferior-lateral border of levator ani. Here we can make a sketch here. You can see very clearly here in the corneal section on star image. So again, another example, a high RIFIL fistula. You can see it here, going almost reaching the lateral pelvic wall. You can see this is the lateral bone, and this fistula is reaching up to here. But you can see a distinct plane between the osteorectal fossa fat and the fistula. Now, these are the contralateral RIFIL fistulas. And in contralateral RIFIL fistulas, you can see the external opening is here, but the fistula is going on the RIFIL fistula is on the contralateral side. Now, the major challenge in these fistulas is that the access, the approach to these fistulas is extremely difficult. And the only way to approach these, you cannot approach from here. It's at the roof of the osteorectal fossa. The only way is to approach through the internal opening and follow the outer sphincteric space and clean it. So these are the real difficult cases. Another example of contralateral RIFIL fistula. And you can appreciate these fistulas cannot be identified or diagnosed without MRI. No clinical examination can diagnose this, and even ultrasound can diagnose this with great difficulty because it is at great depth. So why these fistulas are highly complex? Because till date they were not known. It is difficult to identify. They cannot be diagnosed without MRI. They were often confused with high transsphincteric infralevator fistulas. And practically for the surgeons, the access is very difficult. And so obviously very difficult to treat. And if one confuses them with high transsphincteric fistulas, he will try to drain it through the osteorectal fossa fat, and there's risk of injury to levator muscle, causing iatrogenic extrasphincteric fistula. And that's why all these reasons, it is associated with high recurrence rate. So we analyzed 419 MRIs, and out of those, RIFIL fistula was present in 10% of patients. So obviously, the healing rate was much lower in RIFIL fistulas. That was around 69% as compared to 92% in non-RIFIL fistulas, which was highly significant. So the tips of management are: do not approach these fistulas through the osteorectal fossa fat, enter the outer sphincteric space below, and then follow this space superiorly. Thorough assessment and preoperative MRI to know exact fistula details is very important, and proper adequate drainage of RIFIL fistula plus management and healing of the primary opening at dentate line is key to the success. So this is the approach. don't approach from here. Approach from the internal opening and go into the outer sphincteric space and clean the fistula from here. That is the key to success, and heal the fistula here. So to conclude, proper identification of outer sphincteric space and RIFIL fistulas that have led to better management of complex fistulas, lowers recurrence rate, and decreases the risk of sphincter damage. Obviously, good assessment of MRI and excellent teamwork with radiologist is the key. Thank you very much.